Hello everybody and welcome to Noodle Journey, your destination for detailed and informative reviews of the instant noodle universe. I might regret it by the end of filming, but today's review is of one of the most poorly received instant ramen companies I've ever come across. This is Twisted Noodles with their shrimp-flavored ramen cup and pack. Before we get started, please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy these reviews. And since I am about to take a bullet and eat something that a lot of people really seem to hate, that's a really nice thing that you could do for me. Yeah, I don't need to spend too long telling you what shrimp-flavored ramen is, so let me just touch on a few other things before we get to the review. These are available in a lot of grocery stores across the USA for dirt cheap. I just found them at Big Lots for 49 cents for the cup and 29 cents for the pack. It also appears they've popped up in chains like Dollar Tree, Grocery Outlet, and H-E-B. These are produced by a company called Albany Farms, which is not based in Albany, New York, but Belle Fourche, South Dakota. And they say these noodles are made in the USA with their own locally grown flour, with the goal of Twisted Noodles being the only 100% American-made ramen noodle? I think the ship has sailed on that already, but that's what they're claiming. And I'm really not going to waste any more time on this video fact-checking. So the reason I'm reviewing the shrimp flavor first, because I do have the chicken flavor on standby, is that my buddy the Ramen Raider already did a pretty thorough beatdown of the chicken flavor and the beef flavor. So I figured I'd cover the shrimp flavor and maybe come back to the chicken cup and pack another time. So let's start with the cup. This has 1,200 milligrams of sodium in it, which is pretty average, not terrible at all. Now inside the cup, we've got a block of very thick-looking ramen noodles that are made from Albany Farms wheat. There's a powdered soup base on top of them that contains salt, soy sauce, sugar, and shrimp powder. And underneath that is a really sad amount of dried veggies. There are 3 peas, 5 kernels of corn, and maybe 10 pieces of carrot. There's also supposed to be parsley in this, but I don't see any sign of that. Now, you can steep this in boiling water, or you can microwave it. And since a major complaint seems to be that these noodles are trash when you steep them, I'm going to try microwaving them and see what happens. So I'll be right back. Okay, here it is out of the microwave. I'll just give it a quick stir. Yeah, these noodles are really not moving very well. Super stiff. I've reviewed enough instant noodles by this point to know when they feel rehydrated and when they don't. And these definitely do not feel rehydrated. I'm also getting like a weird fry oil aroma off of this thing. I don't know what to make of that. It doesn't smell bad, but it doesn't smell like any shrimp flavored ramen I've ever had. All right, I'm gonna keep an open mind and I'm going for it. All right, yeah. Let's start with the noodle score. These noodles are not as bad as I've been led to believe, but they're also not good, in my opinion. They're pretty far from rehydrated. They're very stiff. They're very chewy, very clumpy, and they've got a weird aftertaste. Almost like they're stale. The freshness date on this cup is 7 months from now. So these shouldn't be stale, but that's how they taste. That's how they feel in my mouth. Really not good noodles. I'm not sure that any additional microwaving would have helped with this. If I ever do decide to spend another 49 cents on these and experiment with them, I'll let you know. But no, the noodles are a 2 out of 10 for me. They're just really not good. Spiciness score, 0 out of 10. There's nothing spicy in here. So let me just talk about the flavor of the broth, or rather the lack thereof. Basically tastes like salt and oil. That stale noodle flavor kind of carries across into the broth as a stale oil flavor. And aside from salt, I'm picking up a really strange hint of maybe something citrusy. I don't know what it is. It doesn't taste like shrimp. It barely tastes like soy sauce. There's just no appreciable flavor here to speak of. And you could say, well, what did you expect for 49 cents? But for a company that is so focused on their website, talking about how proud they are of their product. This is like, I would be embarrassed of this if I made this and sold it. The only thing I really can't complain about is the rehydration of the vegetables, the corn, the peas, the carrots. They all came back fine, nice and tender. Not a lot of them, of course, not enough to save this from a really low score. But like when the corn and the peas are the highlight of your ramen cup, you done goofed. So at least I'm only out 49 cents with this cup. I'm going to give it an overall score of 1.5 out of 10. I just think this is something you should completely skip. Even if you're as curious about it as I was, don't waste your money. Don't encourage them. Ugh. All right, so after that showing, I'm really not sure that I should continue on with this pack version, but it's either that or just throw it in the trash right now. So I kind of want to see if the noodles in the pack come out better by boiling them on the stovetop, or if they're just as bad as they are in the cup. So I'm going to push through this for the sake of science and for you. If you care at this point, if you're even still watching this video, there is a staggering 2,560 milligrams of sodium in this bag. That's 111% of your daily allowance. It is over twice the sodium content of the cup. And the cup is 2.25 ounces. This bag is only 3 ounces. So they jammed a lot more salt into this than they did in the cup as a ratio of sodium to noodle volume. All right, inside the pack, we've got a block of noodles and a single seasoning packet containing, from what I can tell, the exact same ingredients as the cup, just a lot more salt. Oh, but here's the kicker. The packaging says this contains dried corn, dried peas, and dried carrots. Now I will concede that maybe this flat soup base contains dried carrots, since they're sliced thin, but there's no way in hell that there are peas and corn in this. None. Like, it's not physically possible. So way to QA your packaging, Twisted Noodles. Like, God, it's like you're not even trying. So once again, the question this little experiment is going to answer is, does boiling the noodles on the stovetop make a difference? And does this seasoning taste any better than the cup version? I'll go cook this and be right back. Okay, here it is. If you read the package instructions, it tells you to boil the noodles for 3 minutes, then add the seasoning and stir that for 1 minute. So I did. I stirred the seasoning in for 1 minute. I wish that I'd had the presence of mind to take a video while it was cooking, but I gotta tell you, when the noodles were cooking, the amount of, for lack of a better word, discharge coming off of them and floating to the surface of the water was off-putting. Like, most noodles release starch into the water, sometimes some flavorings and seasonings when they cook. It's how instant noodle manufacturers add additional flavoring and texture to their broth without making you, boil a separate pot of water or add other things to their seasoning packets. But with this, I've never seen anything like it. It was just an insane amount of this like yellowish brown foam. And yeah, I mean, 190 plus reviews, and I've never come across anything that looked as bad as this while it was boiling. That being said, I will still try to keep an open mind about this, but I am not hopeful. You will also notice that, like I called, the package is completely full of shit about any vegetables being in here whatsoever. It says carrot, corn, and peas. There is not a speck of any of those things to be found in here. It's just noodles and broth. And quite frankly, it doesn't smell like anything. Maybe the faintest whiff of soy sauce, but like, all right, let me just shut up and try this. All right, noodle score first. I'm happy to say that, no, happy's not the word. I will say that the noodles came out better on the stovetop than they did in the cup. They're still terrible. The saving grace of the stovetop is that since you have to stir it really vigorously right after it's done cooking, It loosens these up so they're not clumpy like they were in the cup version, but they still have that same oily aftertaste, that unpleasant chew. I'll give them an extra half a point over the cup version just because the stirring loosened them up a bit, so 2.5 out of 10 for the noodles. Once again, 0 out of 10 for the spiciness score because there is no spice to this. And now let's talk about the flavor. There's none. This tastes like salt water. I'm not getting anything else off of this. No shrimp, not even that little hint of citrusy ginger flavor that I was getting out of the cup. This is just unbelievably bland, flavorless. And I can't even say, well, at least the vegetables were good because there's no damn vegetables in this. So what else can I say about this? 1 out of 10 is an overall score. I didn't think it could get worse than the cup version, but here we are. So look, I appreciate what Twisted Noodles is trying to do with all of their talk about being 100% American made and having a 0 carbon footprint, all the stuff on their website. Great, fine. But I can't give these noodles a free pass because I like the company's ethics. I think these are awful. Certainly my bottom 10 of all time. The pack version is worse than the cup version, and I cannot recommend these at all unless you are dying to know how bad they really are. Like an instant ramen equivalent of a Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode. If you want to find out for yourself if these have a place in your diet, then hey, at least they're dirt cheap if you think you can improve upon them with additional toppings and seasonings. But even then, I'd have a hard time recommending at least the pack version because the sodium amount in this is absolutely insane for something so bland and flavorless. If you've tried these, please leave me some comments and let me know what you thought. If you think I should still go ahead and review the Twisted Noodles chicken flavor, please let me know that too. I'm honestly 50-50 at this point whether I want to waste another video on Twisted Noodles. Either way, thank you for watching. I hope you'll join me here again on Noodle Journey.